What's up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Here's the thing with Mitch Williams and Tom Arnone. We'll have a catch with Mitch Williams at the end of the show, show him off my arm a little bit. We'll go over the upcoming week of games. Phillies late inning comeback takes the game in the series from the Mets, and Scherzer's struggles return. All that and more on Here's the Thing with Mitch Williams and Tom Arnone coming at you right now.
Oh my God!
I'm embarrassed!
He's flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time.
Welcome in, everybody, to Here's the Thing with Mitch Williams and Tom Arnone. We're back, baby. I wasn't here last week, and the great Michael Chromiak stepped in, was a tremendous pinch hitter. We may use him again, but we got a ton to go over. We'll talk about. We'll have a catch with Mitch Williams at the end of the show. Rapid fire questions. We'll go over this upcoming week of games. We travel to Chicago, come back home against the Nationals. Phillies late inning comeback takes the game in the series from the Mets. We'll talk about Scherzer's struggles are returning a little bit. Talk about JT's struggles a little bit over this homestand. We got a lot to talk about, but we are brought to you by Philly Sports Trips. And hey, Birds fans and Phillies fans, Tom Arnone with some huge news. Philly Sports Trips has released their Eagles schedule. Make sure you go see my friends from phillysportstrips.com and reserve your spot today. You'll get to watch an Eagles game in a great city and hang out with former Eagles like Hollis Thomas and the likes. Philly Sports Trips books at the best hotels, has the best Eagles available. You know you'll have a great time. Book now and tell them A2D sent you. And you can book right now for their getaway, the Philly spring training. Already taking reservations for that as well, which everything I've heard is a phenomenal time. But we got all that. We'll tie into our poll question, which our poll question for this afternoon show. After going 0 for 10 against the Mets, it's time for Rob Thompson to move Kyle Schwarber out of the leadoff spot. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, that's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Hit the like, subscribe, follow. Most importantly, talk to me and Mitch today. Mitch, lead us off like you always do. Do you agree or disagree? After going 0 for 10 against the Mets, it's time for Robbie T to move Kyle Schwarber out of the leadoff spot.
I disagree with that, and I never thought I would, because I'm a guy that wants his home runs to do more than one-run damage. But you look at what he's doing. He's hitting – I know he's hitting over 250 since they put him back there, which is at least 60 or 70 points higher than he was hitting. So, and his on-base percentage. Everyone is finding out no team wants to start the game down 1-0. So he's getting a lot of walks. His on-base percentage is still good. He's, I think, second in the league in walks. So you leave him be. Schwarber is used to struggling. He's used to finding his way out of it. So you leave him alone. That's not the guy I'm worried about. The guy I'm worried about is JT. I think JT needs 2 or 3 days off. Let the backup catcher go in there, catch and call a game, because honestly, JT's not hitting, and it's hard to argue because the starting pitching has done so well lately, but JT's game calling, I don't agree with at times. I think some of the pitches he calls are not bright, and you look at his approach at the plate, Tom, oh my God, if he wasn't just completely humiliated after those first 2 at-bats yesterday, I don't know how, because he's not even close. If you're going to start with an open stance, you have got to go to the baseball, and he's not. His whole front side is blown open, which is making him chase balls on the outer third, off the outer third that aren't even close. If he's going to hit like that, we talked about Ozzie Albies with the Braves. He's got 17 home runs. He's a switch hitter. You watch him get in the box right-handed. His right foot, his back foot, is almost on home plate. which means he don't have to get closed. He can let the baseball travel deep in the zone and still hit the ball out of right field. If JT's not going to fix the getting closed part, he's got to move closer to the plate.
Which these guys are so scared to do, right? I also disagree. You know, when you talk about Kyle Schwarber, had a bad May. We all know about his May. I mean, May he batted 115. He had 7 homers in May. It was brutal. June, you know, it was an uptick better, right? I mean, he's batting 218. He's got 7 homers. He's walked 15 times, so he's still getting on base. He was hit by 1 pitch. The strikeouts are a lot. We know that. It comes with it. I would like for him to put the ball maybe in play a little bit more because contact is king. But that being said, he is who he is. He's struggled before. And we talked about it. The Phillies really believe, and I can't blame them on this, but they really believe getting up 1-0 wins them a lot more baseball games. And that's the truth. I mean, their record when they're – I got if somebody has it out there, please let me know. But I heard it the other day on the broadcast. When they're down 1-0, their record is brutal. So there is something to be said about that. I think Kyle will figure it out. Would I be willing to give Christian Pache a game in left field over the next week and maybe get him off his legs a little bit? Maybe give Harper a day, right? And let Schwarber DH for a day. That's the direction I will go. I can tell with Bryce Harper, and if you just look at him, you can tell he's not as thick as he was last year. Rightfully so. So you're going to lose a little bit in your core. You're going to lose a little bit of power, and he's pressing. So that's a guy I would give a day off. I couldn't agree with you more. JT's so based on timing. It's so based on getting the foot down in time, staying closed. When he did that 2 weeks ago, he was scorching hot as a pistol.
When you get that foot down and you're square to the pitcher, that's when JT is rifling balls out of right center. That's when he's a dangerous hitter. This guy, right now, watching film on him, he's not going to do any damage. The fact that left-handed kid threw him a fastball in yesterday saved JT's day and that game because he would not have touched anything away.
Nothing away. You're right. Because it's like he's another guy leaking. You know, I always tell hitters this too. When you're late, you're late. There's nothing you can make up for being late. Now, does that mean I want you to have your foot down 5 minutes early? No, right? But I'd rather you have your foot down a little bit earlier than not get it down in time at all because you can make up for that, especially at this level, right? If your foot's down a half a second before it should be, okay, I get the rhythm doesn't stay the same, but I would much rather be on time because I can make up for that. Well, I can't make up for being late.
No. When you're late getting your foot down and you're open, you're an out. I mean, it's just plain and simple. Pitching at the big league level, they can see that. They watch film. And all they're going to do is continue to throw him breaking balls away, fastballs away, because when your front side is gone and he does that leg kick and doesn't get his foot down, it's not even so much with me, the timing part of it. It's where he's putting his foot down. He's putting his foot down, his hips are already open.
Yeah.
And
you
that can't
leak.
be.
You can't leak. Like we talk about head, shoulder, right? I always joke with my kids, like head, shoulder, knees, and toes, right? But in the reality, like those things have to stay closed and on. I got to be on the baseball. The second I start to pull that move and fly, I'm done. Because where does every pitcher want to pitch you? Like, and I don't like it, but that's the way the game's going. They're scared to get beat inside. I understand it. So you know most guys are trying to beat you away. They're trying to. So knowing that, I can never understand why big league guys get in the leak modes. I just can't understand it. Like, you're too good. You know better, especially a catcher. A catcher who does the same thing. Now, what you did say, I don't want to forget this. You talked about his game calling back there, right? I've had some issues with him for a little bit, and I get some heat for it because I like JT, and people out there love him. So it's like certain guys you can't ever say anything bad about. Yeah. His framing's not good enough. It's never been. Okay. He loses pitches. He loses strikes for his pitchers. I brought this up to Arnone about 2 years ago, just jokingly, like, who would you rather pitch to? A guy you pitched to in the minors forever and Andrew Knapp, right? Yeah. Or do you want JT? His response, a great response. I'd rather have my brother. You know, so I put it on a T for him. That being said, I'm I'm not putting stuff out here, but if Aaron really believed that he's that good calling games, he's not even going to hesitate. That
JT.
So
exactly.
His relationship with Knapp was better. They had a better chemistry. Every time he pitched to Knapp back in the day, his numbers were better that game because he grew up with him. They like Greg Maddux had his own guy, right?
How many times did Maddux ever pitch to the starting catcher? I know I played with him in Chicago. Damon Berryhill was his catcher, not Joe Girardi. And Damon was hurt all the time. So that's how Girardi ended up getting the starting position. But when Mad Dog pitched, it was to him. When he went to the Braves, it wasn't to Javi Lopez.
Yeah, who was the guy? I'm drawing a blank. Who? Do you remember?
I am too. I'm drawing a blank on him too. But he wasn't a guy that hit a lot. But the thing with Maddux, he never stopped teaching his catchers. I'll never forget, he ended a game with a pitch, and as he's walking into the catcher, he is in his face about something. He was always teaching his catchers what he wanted and where he wanted it. And that's my issue with JT. We talk about it with the pitcher that got sent down, tall, skinny kid, fastball changeup guy. He gave
Brogdon.
Brogdon. Connor Brogdon is his best pitch is his fastball. And for JT to not think back there, that one game against Washington where we had a 1-run lead, he starts him off with a changeup, leadoff hitter takes it, busts him in with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, takes it for a strike. JT, being a hitter, should know that hitter is sitting on changeup. Absolutely know that. And what does he do? He calls a changeup again. You can't do that. I'm not a fan of the way he calls a game. He's a great throwing catcher, and everything I've heard about JT, he's a great guy. I don't know him. I can't speak personally or about him. But even back when Ryan Howard was here, I was at the field for batting practice every single day and stood there behind the cage with Charlie Manuel. And Ryan, when he got in a funk, it was because he didn't get his front foot down in time. He was a guy that started open but didn't stride. All he did was close. I said, Ryan, why don't you just start with your front foot down? You hit the ball out of any part of the ballpark. Eliminate that movement from your hitting. If you eliminate that movement, now your head's not moving, your eyes are still, and all you're doing is loading your top half. It pretty basic and simple stuff. Look at what Stott's doing now. Stott's not striding. He's using his 2-strike approach from the start of every at-bat now. Why? Because it keeps his head still. That's why he sees so many pitches. His head is not moving.
That's the thing, and we always talk to kids about, like, don't watch the big leagues for anything more than entertainment, right? Like, you can't watch it for anything more than entertainment because you're talking about the 1%. And the 1% can do stuff that nobody else can do and get away with it. And you're right. I think the extra movement that a lot of these guys have at the plate, it's like, man, if you simplified it, you're going to rake. And you might not be comfortable right away, right? Because there's a comfortability part of it. But once you do, you're going to rake. Like Harper. When Harper's in his 2-strike approach, which he hasn't done a lot this year of, but last year he was mashing. He doesn't lose any power. When I put a younger guy into a 2-strike approach, and I do it to put it in their toolbox, right? So they have it. Doesn't mean they have to always use it, but it's there when you're struggling or your head's flying or different things like that. You go back to using it. I try to explain to kids, you don't get any more power from you can lift your leg up and hit yourself in the chin. You don't get any more power that way. As long as you get on your backside, right, that's where all your power is coming from. So it doesn't matter. You don't need a leg kick. You don't need a long stride. What does a long stride do me at the end of the day? Well, guess what? It gets me on my front side a little bit too much, right? Where now I'm flailing and stuff.
Or you collapse on your backside.
Yeah.
The thing people don't understand, and I coach kids a lot, the mechanics of hitting and pitching are identical. You have to get your weight to your backside to get back to your front side. They're no different. It's just there's a whole lot of different trains to the same station, which only means you can start open, you can start closed, but at some point you had better get back to balanced and closed. The biggest thing I always taught kids hitting, take your nose to the baseball. If you take your nose to the baseball, you're going to get hits more often than not. You're going to put the ball in play. That's for sure. And I watch these guys like JT. His head and front side are completely gone. That's not taking your nose to the baseball. You open kids up for one reason, because if they start closed, they fly open. So what do? You start them opposite. You open up their front side and make them go to the baseball. The ones that don't go to the baseball when they're kids are kids that have a fear of the baseball. That's all that is. So I don't understand at that level, at the big league level, how he can't make that adjustment.
It's mind-boggling.
It
Greg
really
says,
is.
oh boy, Tommy has a friend in the JT foxhole. And yeah, let's make it clear, Greg, right? I love JT. Mitch loves JT. We're just big fans of facts, right? And we're big fans of like, hey, he's a tremendous athlete. He's a tremendous catcher. He's one of the leaders of this ball club. That doesn't mean he's perfect at stealing strikes for his pitchers. That doesn't mean that. He can throw everybody in the country out. We know that, right? And it doesn't mean everything he does at the plate is the right thing, right? No. Like he can eliminate some of his movement, and JT would hit for even a higher average, right? And
absolutely. I mean, if all he did was get back to square with his feet, if his feet are square, chances are his upper half is going to be square.
Absolutely.
And be able to drive the ball the opposite way. He is looking to pull everything right now. When I look back on JT's home runs that I can remember, the majority of them are to right or right center. Why? Because he's getting back to square or even closed and letting the baseball travel.
I laugh at this now. I feel like I could go back. I feel like I'd be Larissa Riza in the pros, like at 40. Like I feel like if you said, Tom, we'll give you like 6 months, get a strength and conditioning coach, get yourself in some shape. I feel like I could hit like Luis, because like when you talk it and you simplify it for the younger generation, you're like, oh man, it's not easy. It's not easy. Let's make this clear.
Easy.
Not easy at all.
There are ways to simplify it.
There is, and make your life easier.
Every catcher I ever threw to that talked to me about what I wanted to do, I said, simple. I don't care if you get me one pitch. You just better never take one away. I hated a guy that would put his glove up, fastball, hit the glove, and jerk it down.
Yeah.
I couldn't take that. If it was a strike, I wanted it. If it was a ball, that's my fault.
The one that gets me is the lower one. His lower one, he'll slide with it, right? Like you see it, like he'll slide with it instead of just stick it.
If all he does is stick that, he's going to get that call more often. I don't like catchers that try and bring the ball up. My son was one of the best I ever saw in high school at getting pitches on the inner half because he turned his glove to catch a baseball. Or if the ball's up, just turn your glove down. But the guys that try and pick the ball up or frame it, bring it back in, as soon as they do that, it's telling the umpire that pitch is a ball. If they stick it, then you're showing the umpire you have confidence that pitch was a strike.
Yeah, agreed. We're going to take a quick commercial break in 1 second. We started the show off. We were talking about Schwarber and we're talking about JT. And I think me and Mitch both agree that JT could use a breather for sure.
Put Stubby in there against a couple of right-handed pitchers 2 days in a row. Let JT take a break from his brain and get back to being the guy he's supposed to be in that lineup. And
we both agree that Schwarber doesn't really need a day. We're fine with him in the leadoff hole. We were probably, we were yelling and screaming a month ago that leave Stott there, but when they moved him, they've been winning games, right? And that's all that matters. So it's working. His average is up in the month of June compared to what it was in May. He's batting .218. That's a lot better than 117. So there's progress there. He's getting on base enough. I know it's not traditional, but it's
pitchers
fine.
do not want to start the game
Yeah.
down 1-0. So he draws a lot of walks.
It is the truth, though, right? Like
Yeah,
you don't want to give him a cookie when guys
No.
are trying. Like, hey, I'm a starter. I want to get that first pitch over for a strike, get it going, strike one, live in the zone, right? And then he comes walking up, and you're like,
well, I'm not going to get a chance to establish my fastball first pitch because it could end up in the popcorn stand.
It's true. It's true. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the late inning comeback that the Mets were so kind to give us yesterday, and we'll break down a little bit of what happened on the homestand. Not the homestand we wanted, but we'll take a little peekaboo of what's coming up here. We got a big series against the Cubs coming up. They're coming back from London. Maybe get a little jet lag, go take care of business in Wrigley, and then the schedule's the weirdest schedule in the country for baseball, and you're flying back home, and you got the Nationals coming to town. So we got a big week of Phillies baseball. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and on the other side, we're going to talk about it. Here's the thing with Mitch Williams and Tom Arnone. We'll be right back.
Hey, Birds fans, the NFL schedule has arrived and Philly Sports Trips has all the details now. Visit the site phillysportstrips.com. This is sure to be an epic season. Be sure to go there now to make sure that you don't get shut out. Join us in Tampa, LA, Seattle, or when we get revenge in Kansas City. Don't want to fly? No problem. Gather up your crew and hop aboard one of our signature boisterous bus trips to DC or New York. Sign up now and make sure to mention A2D. Don't miss out on the best Philly fan experience anywhere. Philly Sports Trip customers always stay at the best hotels and meet NFL legends. Book today.
Williams here. If your company ships freight, join my winning team at Raymond Transportation Corporation. Let us become part of your team. RTC has been serving shippers nationwide for 26 years. With 10 terminals located throughout the U.S., volume LTL, small LTL, truckload, and rail. You can count on RTC to be the closer you need. I know firsthand that the Delaware Valley demands accountability. Call me at 800-206-3983 to schedule a meeting. Give me one shipment, and we will earn the rest.
There you have it.
There you have it. Look at that one. That was smooth. I had to click a lot of buttons on that. Felt good there.
I'm glad I don't have to click them buttons.
It's a pain in the butt. Two things at once. I'm decent at it. All right. Late comeback win. So
that's a late give back win is what that was.
So what, 2-3 on the homestand? Right? Not ideal. Not what we were looking for. I think what was the night Nola pitched? It all runs together. What was that, Thursday? Was it Thursday night? Did he throw against the Braves?
He didn't throw bad that night.
He threw great that night. Hold on,
he threw the ball downhill. And I'll tell you what, Nola's fun to watch when he is throwing the ball downhill and able to locate his fastball. He's a fun guy to watch, but it's being able to go out there and repeat it. And it all comes back to what we talk about, Tom, a simplification of what you do mechanically. He changes so much mechanically out of his windup and then goes to his stretch. And the 20-second clock is going to continue to be bothersome for him until he quits the habit of rubbing up the baseball every time. I mean, whether it's put in play, hits the ground, if it's a strike called, when JT throws the ball back to him, it's a habit. He's rubbing it up. Well, guess what? That's taking 5 seconds off your time. He's got to get rid of that habit so he can focus on the mechanics of throwing the baseball.
Yeah, I mean, he's at a typical, his June numbers, right? At the end of May. So his last 5 starts, right? He's 2-2 with a 3.94.
That ain't bad. It ain't great.
No, it's about what he is. I mean, his career, he's a 3.66 guy. So, like, you're right. When he's on and he's on top of the baseball, he's fun to watch. There's a reason he pitched Friday nights at LSU. You see it at times, right? It comes out and shows its head, like, why this guy's legit and why I think he's going to be able to pitch for a long time in this league and why somebody will roll out the Brink truck for him is because
somebody's going to pay him in free agency
because he can get it done without throwing 98, right? And at the end of the day, people think that's going to last longer. I get it. So I like Noah. I thought this was a little bit of a rough, weird homestand. But it's the first time we won a series against New York since 2021. So that's crazy to think about.
And that deal yesterday, when Pete Alonso led off the ninth and Kimbrel fell behind him 2-0, I'd have done the same thing. There is no way you will convince me. I haven't seen Kimbrel miss in to a right-hander that bad all year. He hit him on purpose. Number one, their leadoff hitter, Schwarber and Turner got hit. Neither one of them was on purpose, obviously.
Yeah.
You're not going to hit a guy and drive in 2 runs. But if I'm Kimbrel, when I fell behind, I don't want to throw a 2-0 breaking ball in the dirt. That doesn't serve any purpose. He had to wear a 97-mile-an-hour fastball off the back of his shoulder and go to first base. What is he? He's a log jam. Kimbrel is living in the on-deck circle, which a closer is supposed to do. If there's one guy at the plate that could have hurt him in that 9th inning, it would have been Pete Alonso, because he can hit the ball out of any part of the ballpark, and you cannot make a mistake to him. So put him on base and make him a little sore. He didn't get up around his head. He hit him in the back. That's baseball.
No, it is. It is. I liked it. I thought the same thing when it happened. I was like, did he hit him on purpose so he doesn't lose a baseball on him?
Exactly. And I couldn't believe that Buck Showalter didn't pinch run for him. That, to me, shocked me. As soon as Alonso got on base, I'm pinch running for him. There's no question about it. But I guess, I heard earlier they didn't have anybody else. They had nobody left on the bench. So in that case, you go to your fastest reliever and put him out there. But you don't leave Pete Alonso on first base in the 9th inning down 1 run. You put someone out there that knows how to run the bases and has a little bit of speed.
I agree. Dennis, I don't know if he's still hurt. I mean, I just don't think Harper is. I don't think he has his full legs under him.
Denise, buddy, not Dennis.
Oh, Denise. Jesus. Denise, I'm sorry.
Harper is not still hurt. He's just not back to full strength. And Tom, you said it. He's not as thick as he was last year. Harper has an off-season weightlifting routine that I guarantee is unbelievable. Well, with a torn or after Tommy John surgery, you're very limited in what you can do weight-wise. It's all bands and dumbbells and stuff like that. He just isn't back to full strength. He's hitting around 300. It's just a soft 300, not doing any damage. He's frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in his head right now. Every ball he hits hard to the outfield, he stands there and looks at and can't believe the ball's not going out of the park. It's not his fault. You're talking about a guy that 6 or 7 months removed from Tommy John. He doesn't have a brace on that front elbow.
You're talking about a guy that... No, he doesn't.
So that front elbow's exposed. He's not a guy that wears a pad on it, which for me, I would have him put a pad on it. But no, he's not still hurt. He's not back to 100%.
Yeah, which is like expected, right? Like, I knew it, and I was hoping that the family out there would know it and they would be understanding of it. The guy's a tremendous competitor, right? And I feel like I just used the Gabe Kapler line right there. Like, he's a tremendous competitor. But
well, he is.
He is.
Changes the way the lineup is pitched to by being in that lineup.
It's not a coincidence that we played better as soon as he got in the lineup.
Yes, people have to understand that. One guy like Harper in a lineup changes the way the entire team is pitched to. You watch him yesterday, he didn't get anything to hit in situations. When you know a guy is pressing, like Bryce is right now, is when he gets runners in scoring position. He's not hitting well with runners in scoring position because his job is to drive in runs. So he's going outside the strike zone to try and do that. And he's rolling over on balls, not squaring balls up. He's just trying to do too much. If he's in that lineup and doing what he did yesterday, take your walks. If they don't want to pitch to you, have trust in the guy behind you. That's all you have to do. But the guy behind him hadn't been doing much. I would switch JT and
Harp
Marsh.
and Marsh. Yeah, you've been on that. You've been on that kick for a minute, Mitch. Like you've been on like moving him down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I tend to agree with it. All right.
Especially right now. When you're struggling, you don't want 5 at bats a night. I mean, that's just another 0 for 5. I'd rather be 0 for 4 than 0 for 5. Move him down on the lineup or sit him for a couple of days. Let Stubbs catch. You're not losing anything throwing wise because Stubby throws great to second base.
No, he does. He does. He's underrated back there. He really is
underrated. And you know why he's underrated? Because I'll bet you he don't weigh 175 pounds. He's not a big presence behind the plate, but his release to second base is every bit as quick as JT's.
Yeah, it is.
So
he's a good defensive catcher. He's a good. Yep, he is, and he can lose a baseball or two too. Let's not act like Stubby can't swing it a little bit. I'm not calling him JT for the people out there. I'm not clamoring for Garrett Stubbs to get like to play too many games, right?
No, but because then he'd be overexposed at the plate.
And I know he doesn't want. I get it, and this goes back to being another great competitor, right? JT is another tremendous competitor. He wants to play every day. I get it, right? I totally get it. Over his last 5 games, though, he's batting 176, right? In the month of June, he's batting 239, all right? 239. That is not
with a hot streak.
Yeah, that's with a cycle and a 5 for 5 are mixed in. So that's not good enough, guys. Like a 4 for 4, right? But that needs a breather. That to me is the prime example of a guy who just needs to get off his legs for a minute. Like I got it with my catchers too. Like my catchers are the same way, even at a younger age. When they got to like catch back-to-back games, you know it, Mitch, right? The power, some of the things that you want to see maybe aren't there as much in like game 2 of 95, right? But then if you give them 1 game on, 1 game off, they're still in the lineup. Game 2, those legs are there then, right? Like those little things matter.
I think JT needs a mental break more than he needs a physical break. The guy keeps himself in unbelievable physical shape. He runs like a deer for a catcher. I think he needs the mental break. And the thing I like about Stubbs, he'll put a bunt down. If he looks up and that third baseman is back and over, he's going to put a bunt down and get a base hit. He will do what it takes to get on base. And you're not losing anything defensively, in my opinion. I don't know that his body would hold up over a 162 game schedule as a starting catcher because to me he's frail. But you cannot argue the fact his release and arm strength to second base are right there with JT.
No, they are not far off. Definitely not far off. All right, so we have what do we have coming up? We have the Cubbies
and Nats.
I was too busy looking at the last 5 games for Cody Clemens. You know, he's been,
Cody's another one that's pulling off.
175 in the month of June. That doesn't bode well for you staying with this club. That's all I'm going to say about it. Like, it's not going to bode well, him staying with this club. I thought he had to give the job away coming into June, right? I almost feel like in June he's giving that back away. 175, no homers, right? Not that he's expecting to be a homer, but Derek Hall is back down playing in AAA, right? So I gotta imagine they're going to give Cody a little bit more time here. But if he doesn't start hitting, I mean, they owe it to themselves, right? I mean, they don't have the pop in this lineup. They just don't. And I'm not Mr. You got to hit 1 million home runs, but in today's day and age, you got to hit enough. Right, you got to hit enough, and they're missing some more pop in this lineup. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Derek calls up 20th. You said, is that what they are?
I think they're 20th in home runs, and with this team,
it's unacceptable.
You're going to have one or two guys hit 30, but you should have a whole lot more guys hit 15 plus.
25, 21st, Mitch, right to your point, right? Like, so the same things that we've talked about, RBIs, runs scored, home runs, are really all still in those red marks if you go look it up on StatMuse, right? Like the runs are 20th, home runs 21st, RBIs 20th, walks 23rd, right? I mean,
I heard a stat today, Tom, that's unbelievable. The Marlins are 11 games over 500.
Yep.
And they're minus in run differential.
That is correct.
I think they said their record is 18-5 in one-run games. So the Marlins are playing way out over their skis right now. They're going to come back. But the Phillies have to be the Phillies of last year. They have to take advantage of teams that are not good. Washington is not good. Cubs are a decent team.
Cubs are tough, yep.
But coming back from London, there's going to be some jet lag. If they don't win game one in Chicago, if the Phillies don't, shame on them. Because flying back from London, that's no easy thing to do, and then go out and play baseball.
And it's Ranger versus Jameson Talon. Yeah, Jameson Talon. I think that's how you say it. But he's been getting hit all over the ballpark. So that's Tuesday at 8. Wednesdays in 8:05 or 2. I love being out in the Midwest. That's Arnone, Drew Smiley, our good friend Drew Smiley, who we remember here for 5 seconds. And then Thursday is Walker, who's been pitching really well, and I believe it's Kyle Hendricks. So Kyle Hendricks
that's 3 right-handers starting in that series then, right?
Yep. And then Friday, obviously, you come back home. That's a 6:05 start time. That's freaking random. 6:05 start time, and you come back, and it's Sanchez versus Gray. When Washington comes to town, and you're right, Washington has to be a sweep, right? Like you can't 2 out of 3. You got to bury them. Chicago, I think we're all in agreement. You go to Chicago, you win 2 out of 3. That's a win. That's a good win. You know, sometimes I feel like this team. Sometimes it looks like they need these road trips sometimes to like come together a little bit more, you know?
Well, their last West Coast road trip, they go 6-1.
Yeah.
When they've been playing terrible all year on the road. Now they go to Chicago. They're off today. And you got Talon throwing tomorrow, right? For the Cubs.
Yeah.
This would be the time that JT would sit. I would give him these 2 days off. Let him clear his mind. Let Stubbs catch the opener in Chicago. And then they got is Hendricks right-handed or left-handed? Hendricks is right-handed or left-handed?
Yeah, Hendricks right-handed too, yeah.
Yeah. I would not catch JT in this Cubs series against a right-handed pitcher. I just wouldn't do it. I'd let Stubbs take all the righties in the Chicago series, and then when we come back home, hopefully JT's mind is right. And he's gotten back to doing what he was doing when he was hitting for the cycle.
Yeah, I agree. You know, maybe I definitely give him game 1 down, right?
Yeah,
and go from there. I know
2 days off.
Yeah, he's not gonna allow them.
No, he's not. Like
Yeah,
you said, he's a competitor.
he'll fight tooth and nail. They're like, you're gonna sit 3 days. He might flip a table. You know, it might be Rob's last day. But I agree with you because now you give him because now you're exactly what you said. He's got the day down today on a travel day, right? And they may have traveled out last night.
Yeah, they went out last night,
but he's got today down. You give him tomorrow down. That's 2 days, right? It brings life to the legs. He's not 27, right? Like we got guys in great shape, but these guys at this level, there's a reason they're there, and it's because they're even the guys that are at the bottom of the barrel are mostly competitive junkies, right? There's always the guys that aren't that just get there because they're naturally just that good. But the majority of these guys, man,
push.
Yeah, they've outworked the guy next to him for years. So it's hard for them to take a step back. Like Harper. Like I would love to give Harper 2 days off in the series just to breathe him, man. Like it's okay. It's okay. He won't do it. No. So that's where there's a fine line here in being selfish. Not saying that. I'm not calling these guys selfish. I'm being selfish and being a competitor. and understanding between the two is saying, you know what? Let me listen to some people. Let me get off my legs. Let me get off my right arm for a minute, which is my pull arm, which is the whip arm, which is the most important part, in my opinion, of starting your swing properly, is to get that one through. So
and the most unprotected.
And the most unprotected. So, I mean, I would just give him a little bit of breather, because then you get Pache a start. I'm not crowning Christian Pache. Get Pache a start, get Schwarber out of left field, get him off his legs a little bit, let him DH, and now it's perfect. If you want to give Stubby another start in game 2, maybe that in game 2, you DH JT. Now, I know you're not going to get Harper to sit out 2 games, but I would find a way to get him another 2 days off over this week. If that's a game in Washington, at home against Washington, and a game on the road, and now he's got 3 days. He got 3 days off mixed in here throughout the week.
Yeah, we're heading towards the All-Star break. We're almost at the midpoint of the season. I think we played 77 or 78 games. So we're creeping up on the midway point. You want these guys all to be at their best going into the second half of the season. And Chicago, you can't find a better city to give a guy 2 days off.
Yeah.
I mean, they went in. I'm sure they flew in there last night so they could spend their day off in Chicago. They got the best restaurants in the world in Chicago. You can go out, eat a great dinner, get a good night's sleep. And for JT to do that 2 days in a row and his brain not have to think about what I'm doing wrong at the plate for 2 days, that may be all it takes.
You're right. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to get these guys just like locked back in. Got to do a quick read about Hey Birds fans. Tom Arnone with some huge news. Phillies Sports Trips has released their Eagles schedule. It's out. Go check it out. Make sure you check out my friends at phillysportstrips.com. Go reserve your spot today. You'll get to watch an Eagles game in a great city. Hang out with guys like Hollis Thomas, David Akers, John Dornbos, and the likes. Philly Sports Trips books at the best hotels, has the best Eagles available. You'll have a great time. Book now and tell them A2D sent you. And the Phillies schedule is still out. It's been out. So I know San Diego is still open. Pittsburgh's still open. And you can reserve your spot for spring training next year, which is the big one. That's the big one. So that's where you get to hang out with Charlie. You get to hang out with some great guys. Some great.
You want to learn
Phillies.
some baseball? Sit for an hour with Charlie Manuel. The man oozes baseball.
You know Rob Potts, right, Mitch?
No, I don't.
You don't know Potts? He used to BP. He used to throw BP for the Phillies. He's a hitting instructor now. He's been for a while. But he's close with Charlie. So long story short, I'll sit in and just listen to him talk hitting, because he's got a lot of his philosophies from Charlie. And I'm like a sponge when it comes to Charlie and hitting. Because
if you listen to Charlie and hitting, you can't help but learn. And you find things out that you never thought of. It's just that simple. When you got a guy like him, it's a resource. And as a fan, when I worked at Comcast, the first post game I did, they did a post game interview with Charlie. And I said, well, the first thing they need to do is keep a microphone out of that man's mouth, because Charlie, you have to speak hillbilly to understand what he's saying. But when he gets on a roll talking about hitting, I've never talked to anybody that knows it better.
Nobody. I'm a man. that was one of my favorite ones too. When him and Howard went at it early on in his career. Howard's always looking to go at it with somebody, but
Eskin?
Yeah. He's always looking to go at it with somebody. But I remember when him and Charlie went at it right back in the day, because to your point, nobody gave Charlie credit, right? It was like everybody looked down on him, like, oh, he talks a little funny, right?
He's not articulate. You don't have to be articulate.
Guys played for him, right? And that's all that matters. Guys absolutely played for him. So 6 games, 3 cups, 3 nationals. What do we got? What do we got to come out at this with? 4-2?
4-2. At the least 4-2. Could be 5-1. Since we asked that question a couple of weeks ago, can the Phillies go 15-5 in the next 20? What's their record in their last 20? They're damn close.
They are.
The problem was when they went on that streak, the Braves didn't lose a game.
No, they didn't. They actually somehow may have won like 17 out of 20. Why we were what does this mean? I don't know. The Philadelphia Phillies are 15-5 in their last 20 games. So,
There you go. They have the ability to go out there and do that the entire second half. Their pitching is a whole lot better than people give them credit for. But
they're slugging. You want to hear some of these like numbers, right? Like their OPS over that time is 759. Slugging's 424. On base was 335. About 264, and they hit 22 homers in those 20 games. So they averaged essentially, a home
when
run.
this team hits home runs, they win. It don't have to be multiple home runs in a game. If they hit a home run in a game, more times than not, they win.
Yeah, they do.
And they just got to get the guys that have the ability to hit the ball out of the park the other way. And one big positive that I picked up on Sunday was Turner. He had his barrel up, especially I missed the home run. I was in my truck listening to it. But for him to hit the ball out of dead center, he had to have his barrel up. And then he came up his second at bat I watched, and he started with it up and dropped down and went straight back up with it and hit that line drive into between short and third for his second hit. If he can continue doing this with that bat and that approach, he's going to put up big numbers in the second half.
Yeah, and we need it, right? Definitely. And the other point, like the home run numbers, right? We don't expect them at 40, but we definitely expect them to be around the 20-25 area.
He's a 20 to 30 home run a year guy. But the way he was letting that bat sag behind his head, he was just an out. And trust me, at this level, pitchers do not miss that stuff. They just don't miss it. They'll see it. The minute they see it, they're going to pound him in with fastballs and throw breaking balls away to get him to chase.
Exactly what they did.
He's a danger.
Yep, and it's exactly word for word on what they did. This is why Mitch is the best, man. This is why you gotta listen to us. That's why you gotta hit the like and subscribe.
Just because I had that dumbass nickname doesn't mean I wasn't a student of the game.
Listen, I've been a student with you. I mean, you don't even know this, right? But like, you showed me the split finger. I got one of my guys throwing a split finger now, and he loves it because he's 14, but his fingers are long enough to do it, right? So you got to pick and choose, but he loves it, right? And I got it from you, and then like different pitching things. Like I've learned more pitching in 2 months with you than I've ever learned. That I can relay basic stuff to guys because I don't specialize per se in pitching, right? So I've learned a lot, and I'm just a guy.
It takes 10 minutes. There's only 4 steps to pitching. Set your feet, set your hands, get all the way up and back, and then drive your nose. That's how you locate the baseball, with your nose. It's just like hitting, right, Tom?
Yep.
Take your nose to the ball. Well, you drive your nose to the spot you want that baseball.
It's funny you said the nose, too, because when Chipper Jones, right, the great Chipper Jones talks hitting, and I've heard a little bit of him talking to him with Michael Harris, who's on the Braves, and he talks about burying your nose in it. Burying your nose in it. And I love that I love that actually more than, hey, eyeballs down, right? Like I like it more. Bury it in there. See that thing.
Take your nose to the ball, and you can't go wrong. I preached to my own kid his entire life because he was a guy that started open. But if you're going to start open, you better get closed and take your nose to the ball. If you take your nose to the ball, that eliminates all this. Pulling off, there ain't nothing down the third baseline you need to look at.
No.
Everything you need to look at is right in front of your nose.
40 boy, what's up, Drew? He said, what up, Tommy? Good win yesterday for the fam. Yeah, dude, my guys are good. They're super talented. So we have a big test this week. We're gonna go play up. So 14 you guys are going to go play some 15, 16 you guys down in Maryland starting
All
Wednesday.
just baseball, Tommy.
That's it. That's it. Go compete. What else we got? We got to go over to – we got to have a catch with Mitch here at the end. So what I'm going to do is – Greg, what were you at? Greg, when did they go to London? Because I saw you said the London trip also. When
Next
did we
year.
– oh, it's next year. Yeah, it's not this year. The London series is over this year, right? Nobody else is going out there?
Yeah, Phil's go to London next year.
Oh, my God. I mean, they might want to fix the turf, too, before anybody else goes out there. Goodness gracious. It's like a trampoline. Like a trampoline turf.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a big fan of that trip. They'd
No.
have to do some heavy sedation on me to get me on that plane.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't even like flying to begin with, so you might have to just put me out.
No, I'm not a big flyer either. My truck has never fallen out of the sky.
No, I say that one too. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. On the other side, I have, let me tell everybody how many questions I got for Mitch. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe a 6. So a 6 spot coming up.
You got it.
In our little catch. Take a quick commercial break. We'll come back on the other side, finish that up. I know some of the family out there had a couple questions. If you have anything for Mitch or even me, I mean, I'm just here. But if you have anything for Mitch, fire away, baby. We'll be right back.
Hey, Birds fans, the NFL schedule has arrived and Philly Sports Trips has all the details now. Visit the site phillysportstrips.com. This is sure to be an epic season. Be sure to go there now to make sure that you don't get shut out. Join us in Tampa, LA, Seattle, or when we get revenge in Kansas City. Don't want to fly? No problem. Gather up your crew and hop aboard one of our signature boisterous bus trips to DC or New York. Sign up now and make sure to mention A2D. Don't miss out on the best Philly fan experience anywhere. Philly Sports Trip customers always stay at the best hotels and meet NFL legends. Book today.
There you have it, phillysportstrips.com, and I got one
Mitch
more
Williams
for you.
here. If your company ships freight, join my winning team at Raymond Transportation Corporation. Let us become part of your team. RTC has been serving shippers nationwide for 26 years. With 10 terminals located throughout the U.S., volume LTL, small LTL, truckload, and rail. You can count on RTC to be the closer you need. I know firsthand that the Delaware Valley demands accountability. Call me at 800-206-3983 to schedule a meeting. Give me one shipment, and we will earn the rest.
Bang, bang.
Bang. It's really a good company. That's why I partnered with them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm sure there's people out there. We never know who's listening, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's people that have freight will listen to this stuff.
I'm sure. All right, I got
Fire away, brother.
some quick questions. Christopher Sanchez, the great Christopher Sanchez. Is he the fifth starter going forward, right? He's had 2 really good starts for what we're looking for. One thing before you answer that question, Corey Seidman, who does a tremendous job, all right, for the Phillies. But I swear people are idiots, okay? Bailey Falter as a traditional starter was 0-8 for the Phillies. 0-8 as a traditional starter. When they went to bullpen games, including Matt Strom, the Phillies were 7-6. So can everybody stop talking about the overall record and lumping Falter in with the bullpen games? I'm not Mr. Bullpen games, everybody out there. But the record was 7-6, and now it's 8-6 if you count Sanchez's, right? So it's not like that's what was hurting the Phillies. That's not what was hurting the Phillies. Would it be nice to get a guy that plug in there and go to work? Absolutely. I'd rather not use the bullpen. But just do a little research, Corey, because it's right in front of your face. Bailey Falter was a traditional 5th starter. He got shelled around.
And he's getting shelled around. You got shelled in his last outing down, and
yeah, we didn't come into the year without a 5th starter. I think people think that. We didn't. Painter got hurt, who had a real good chance of being that guy. All right. Yep. And Bailey Falter had a good year last year, and they gave him an opportunity. So they didn't come in caught with their pants down here. Like everybody's going to make it out to be. Like, guys get hurt, right? Or guys don't succeed.
People have to understand the game has changed so much. They pay them more and ask for less. They have 9 relievers in that bullpen.
Yeah.
I came to the big leagues. We had 10 pitchers total, 5 starters and 5 relievers. And now you've got 14 pitchers on your roster?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. If it's a bullpen game, it's a bullpen game. The problem is there's so many teams that go by this pitch count and can't pitch in back-to-back days, or if they throw 2 days in a row. I got paid every day I was in the big leagues. Every day. So I was available every day. That's how I viewed it. They just don't view it that way anymore. And baseball has changed to the point where I think it's hurt itself because they don't ask as much out of pitchers as they used to.
Oh, for sure. So you're good with Christopher Sanchez for the time being, right?
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Give him a chance to go out there and throw another a third start up in a row.
Yeah. So Alec Bohm, since he came back, he struggled a little bit, I guess. I mean, only 1 home run in June, 7 on the year. His defense has improved dramatically at both third and first. But is there anything on the offense side that makes you believe the power will ever be there consistently?
As big as his approach, his approach, a home run for Alec Bohm is simply a byproduct of doing things right. He's got a great swing when he stays short. When he's at his best, his home runs will be to right center because he's letting the ball travel. He's not getting long with his swing. He takes his knob of the bat to the baseball and drives the ball. If the ball goes out of the park, it goes out of the park. Is he not still leading the team in RBIs? I know Nick is getting close, but I think Nick was at 44. I think Bohm had 45. Did he not? I'm just guessing. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
I am getting them right now. RBI leaders. Yes, he has 47. So he's still, even missing time and playing 10 less games than Nick, he has 3 more RBIs.
He doesn't have to hit the ball out of the park to be an RBI guy. RBI guys are guys that put the ball in play when there's runners in scoring position or hit gappers when there's guys on first. Hit a double. If he hits a double with a guy on first, that's a run. Alec Bohm does not have to hit the ball. He's never going to be Mike Schmidt. Ever.
No, nor does he need to be.
He's 6'5". Everybody expects him to hit the ball out of the ballpark. That's not how his swing is built. His swing is built to go gap to gap.
Oh, great. Be who you are. Last question, because we got about 30 seconds here. Momentum from a former player standpoint, is the momentum of a comeback like Sunday's
give back
help carry over to the next game or series, or do those types of conversations happen in the clubhouse, trying to build on that swing of emotion in a game? So there's do you feel like those kind of wins that you get, like the freebies handed to you, does that carry on, or does that just sort of go away when it's done?
The thing about it, I'll guarantee you, the thing it does for a team, something like that game yesterday, is going to lead to a lot of laughter in that clubhouse after the game. They know there was no way in hell they should have won that game. I mean, you score 4 runs with 1 hit. So, no. Yes, it can turn things around and lighten the atmosphere in the clubhouse, because I promise you, they were laughing after that game.
Oh, for sure.
For a guy to come in the game with bases loaded and hit back-to-back guys, I've never done that. They used to bring me into bases loaded because I knew there was no place else I could put anybody. So I got to go at these guys. But no, I hit 3 guys in an inning one time, and Earl Weaver charged the umpire saying I should be thrown out of the American League. And it came out in the paper the next day and said Mitch Williams is more dangerous than Smokey. So I've hit 3 in a row, but never come in and hit 2 guys in a row with bases loaded.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And trust me, no one was happier than Schwarber. Because Schwarber's swing, the previous swings, did not look good.
Nope.
And then he gets hit in the back leg, which I promise you he was so excited about. And I was mad at Turner when he got out of the way of the first one he almost hit him with.
Yeah.
Because it would have only hit him in the thigh.
Yeah, I'm like, where are you going, dude? Like, just
Yeah,
wear
I mean,
that.
just lean into that. And then the guy hits him with a slider.
You can't make it up.
No,
But we got a big. We're
those
playing
kind of
better
games,
baseball.
Yeah, those kind of games can lighten the atmosphere in the clubhouse and kind of take a little weight off people in the clubhouse. So yeah, I think they can build on that.
All right, let's build on it. Let's keep going. We're playing better baseball. 15-5 in our last 20. Let's see if we can run off another 15-5 in our next 20. Another great show, Mitch. Love doing it with you. I missed it last
Me too,
week.
buddy.
Here's the thing with the great Mitch Williams and Tom Arnone. We are brought to you by Phillies Sports Trips. Go book your getaway today. PhillySportsTrips.com. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, commented in, hit the like, shared it, told a friend to tell another friend. We appreciate you all. As the Phillies keep playing good baseball, keep tuning in, baby. We're out of here.
Have a great week.